Okay, the next stage is quite simple. I've cut the shape out and you can see it's laminated front and back. I've just got to decide out which way it's going to fold now, and that will depend on which way I'm going to score it. I actually want it to fold this way, but I don't want it to cause any damage to the plastic or to separate that. It's only heat molded in. So what I'm going to do is score on the back. Now normally you would use a cutting mat to cut on, and you would use a safety ruler to cut these out. Now to be fair, I'm not actually going to be cutting out right the way through this, so there's no need really for me to have all these, other than the fact it's just safety. It stops the work from slipping too much. And you should also be using a safety ruler. Really, I should have got all this out first, shouldn't I? So, I'm just going to mark off where I need to cut and to score the lines. So it needs to be on there, which is my crop mark, just so I can see on this side. And I'm lightly just going to line it up, keep my fingers out of the way, and I'm just going to score along this line. So if I'm writing this up, or when I write this up in my folder, what I will be saying is I've used a cutting mat to prevent the work from slipping, and also to keep the blade sharp. Normally you would use retractable knives rather than a scalpel. That's just health and safety in school, and you definitely need the safety rule so it stops knife slipping up. Again, be careful taking the tool to you. When I'm standing it, I'm going to stand to the side, so if I slip it doesn't hit my body. And I'm just lightly going to put a bit of pressure on and just score. The trick to using these is if you hold it towards the end, it puts less pressure on. The nearer to the nib you get, a bit like a pencil, the more pressure you put onto it. So that bit's fine. And then you need to put the marks in for the second part. Okay, so scoring down there like so. Okay, once I've done that, then the next stage, very simple, is just to fold gently the material so it's into place. And again, you can use all sorts on here if you want to. I'm going to use my spreader that I have. You can use anything for this though, don't need to use a spreader. Ruler, use the end of the knife, completely up to you. It's just to make that so it's quite rigid and flat. You'll notice then the edge is absolutely perfect on there, and I'll do exactly the same with this piece. Make sure you cut it, and if there's any bulges in it, what you'll need to do is just take a pair of scissors and just cut a better angle there, so when it folds it actually all fits accurately. So I'm just about to fold the last piece now, and then finally, before we glue it, we just do a dry run to make sure that it all goes together. So I'll check the sides for a start, so you can see just on this slightly just over by about 1 millimetre. It's tight, but it's not quite perfect. And then all I'll do then is, once that bit's assembled, is attach it to the other side. Now I've already marked the other side out, and you can see we've got the tabs, and so literally that tab will just fit onto that box like so. And the bottom bit will all connect in around the bottom, and I'm going to glue that together using either double-sided tape, which is quite strong, or alternatively just using some super glue, but just watch your fingers with that. If you're using super glue, you won't be able to use that in school nowadays, but you will be able to use double-sided tape, which should look like that. So double-sided tape, very straightforward. What I would literally do, peel it off, stick that onto the one side, and then from there peel it off and just put the two sides together and it's done. Right, what are we looking for then? Well, I've cut the tops off this one rather than having it folded over, which is the original plan, mainly because of the thickness of the material. And where I've learnt that from is because I've already made a template and a box here with the lines in, and it's got all the printing techniques in. And better than that, just need to test it. So bear with me. Can't go wrong. Just to see if two games will fit in easily. And so I've got a little bit there that when I put my handle in, it should actually hold the box. Now, just on the note for the handles, you could use strips. I'm actually going to use literally a hole punch, and then just hole punch the two holes in here and just feed some actual ribbon in onto the back of that, just to mount the handles in there. And then these final pieces, if you draw a line 45 degrees, they can just be folded over. I'll just come back quite roughly, and that also could make the handle come in there. So that's pretty much making the cases all complete, all done. I will finish this one off, put the handles on, and then it's a quick case of a photograph, perhaps like that, just explaining how everything is all put together. And that's how we laminate and encapsulate to make the first box. Very straightforward.